Thanks a million, David. Great stuff there with Jason McAteer for the last little while. I should say this is OTB Sports UEFA Champions League final preview in association with Pepsi Max and Doritos. It's back. Get ready. Hashtag UCL is back. And it is the biggest game in that competition this weekend. It is Bayern Munich against Paris Saint-Germain in the decider of the Champions League. David is going to stay with us. We've got Stiliyan Petrov and Chris Sutton with us. But Neil Lennon, I'll start with you. How do you see things going this Sunday, Paris Saint-Germain against Bayern?
Yeah, I think the two brilliant teams. I think there's not much between. I think Bayern Munich got a better midfield. But I think there was plenty in the game for PSG to be encouraged about against when Munich played Lyon. Lyon had really good chances. Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria will cause them untold problems. So I'm going to go PSG by the odd goal. I think both teams will score as well.
How much of a feat of man management is it that Paris Saint-Germain have got to a stage where they've been able to get Mbappe and Neymar looking really good together in the same team? Because often if you put stars together into one team, they can't quite add up to the sum of their parts. But it seems right now PSG are very much the sum of their parts.
Yeah, I mean, that comes with winning as well. Obviously, they've got over that sort of psychological barrier getting past the quarterfinals. They did a great job in the semi-final. I think Tuchel's done a great job. I don't know how much control he has in the dressing room. I think there's some huge personalities and egos in that dressing room, but they seem to have got the bit between the teeth, and they're one game away from brilliant glory. I think Bayern Munich are an outstanding team and have had an outstanding tournament. I just think they might have peaked a week ago against Barcelona, and I think there's more to come from PSG.
That is one of the questions that you could certainly have after watching the Lyon game. Stiliyan, we might go to you on that particular performance from Bayern Munich during the week. And I guess with Bayern as a whole throughout the tournament, it has been probably the most used analysis line of this Champions League about Bayern Munich's high line. When you're playing at such a high level for so long, I guess you put yourself in the crosshairs of all your opponents. They will be studied to death, and PSG will very much know what to do this Sunday.
Well, of course, it's no hidden area at the moment, especially in that level. But I think that Bayern Munich have a better experience in the big stage. I think the players have played many big games. What is interesting to see is both teams have a special talents. They've got so much ability in these teams, and games like that, everybody like to perform. They're all big players, and they like to be under the spotlights. They like to show what I can do. And I will go with Lenny before actually Sutton make his prediction. I will go for Paris Saint-Germain as well. I think the name he mentioned with Mbappe and Di Maria and Neymar, who is in great form, I think that's their chance, especially with their plan and the club and how much money they spend. This will be the target to win the Champions League, and they've got that chance and opportunity. So I'll go for Paris Saint-Germain.
Unlucky, Chris. Stiliyan got in there with the prediction before you.
I'm going to go for Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich for the reasons that we know the way they're going to play, and they will play with a high line. I think that Hansi Flick sets out his team and he says, this is what we are, and you're going to have to deal with it. They've had so much success from compacting the game and winning the ball high up the pitch, and I think they'll do exactly the same against PSG. PSG, of course, have the threat of the pace of Mbappe, but I think Bayern Munich will be watchful of that. But I take Neil Lennon's point, the fact that I think Bayern Munich's midfield, Goretzka, bulked himself up during lockdown. He's an absolute monster in the middle of the park. That's where I think the game will be won and lost. And of course, Bayern Munich all across the front. Wonder whether Koeman might start the game instead of Perisic. They've got Lewandowski, who's not just a wonderful scorer, he's a brilliant. I think the tools. I'm going to say, because the other lads didn't predict the score, 3-2. That's what you should get your money on.
3-2. Good stuff. You've gone one step further. Just to go back very briefly on that point of the midfield, Stiliyan, because I'd be keen to get your take and David's take actually on Bayern Munich's midfield. Like, I mean, we've had a Liverpool chat for the last little while. Thiago Alcantara could be a Liverpool player by the time the next season begins. You've mentioned there, Chris, Goretzka and his bulking up. How impressed have you been with that Bayern midfield, Stiliyan?
I've been very impressed. I think I've been impressed as Bayern as a team performances. They're playing as a team. They're a very well balanced team. They've got experience. They've got speed. They've got everything that is required to be a top team, and they're showing that. But also, I'm going to make another point. It's going to be interesting to see if Verratti is going to be available for Paris Saint-Germain, because he's instrumental for them. They haven't been able to use him for a number of games, and if he's available for the final, it'll be interesting battle through the middle.
David, it is interesting how Goretzka has bulked up over lockdown. We've seen it with a few players now. I mean, probably the most striking example in British football anyway was Mason Greenwood coming back with a few pounds of muscle on him as well. A lot of players have used that lockdown quite well and have conditioned themselves for the rigours of what's going to be a long old couple of years in football.
Well, the thing is, look, during lockdown, nobody had anything to do. You couldn't go to the house, you couldn't go to the shops, you couldn't go training. So I imagine clubs like Neil will be able to tell you they probably were given programs. A lot of these lads will have home gyms or certainly equipment available. So it's a great time for them to bulk up and not be worrying about, being tired from training. You've plenty of rest. So look, Chris there, touched on Goretzka. He has turned into a machine. He will be pivotal for Bayern Munich on Sunday. You talked about Mason Greenwood, another fella. Look, there's plenty of them. But if you want to talk about the game on Sunday, I think I'm going to go with Paris just because of Mbappe and Neymar. If you look at the quarterfinal, and semi-final, Neymar did miss quite a few chances. But I just get the feeling on the big occasion he'll want to be the star, and I think he'll score those chances.
That's the thing, that wanting to be the star and then actually getting across the line and achieving it is something that I guess we've had questions of when it comes to both of those players, but certainly with Neymar over the last little while. You look at the 2014 World Cup and how he had the hopes of the nation on his shoulders. He gets injured and we all know what happened against Germany. It sort of feels that ever since then, with the exception of the 2015 Champions League final, there's been a lot of disappointments for Neymar. It feels almost like a redemption of sorts if he gets over the line on Sunday, David.
Oh, of course. Look, you touched on the World Cup. Brazil have great history in it. If you go back all the way to the early days with Pele and that, and R9 Ronaldo. Now it's Neymar's kind of the spearhead of their attack, and the injury was tragic for him because he was their main man, he was the captain. So this game on Sunday going forward, it's kind of, this is his redemption in a way. Yes, also you've got to bring in the factors to Thiago Silva, who's captain of Paris Saint-Germain. It's his last game. They've got a great Brazilian connection. Even when you see Marquinhos scores the first goal, it's the three Brazilians are all celebrating together. So you kind of feel it's almost written in the stars for him, but then again, they've got a serious Bayern Munich team to beat, and that's not easy.
Neil, I'd be keen to get your take on what David was talking about there in terms of how players have used lockdown to condition themselves a little bit better. Is this a wider trend that we're seeing at the moment, where you want your midfielders bulkier and able to handle the rigours a little bit better than they used to?
That's a good question. I think it's just an opportunity for individuals to maybe look at their own physique and think, I need to improve on that, and this is a great opportunity. Our players were given, daily programs, individual daily programs. They were sent videos, and, David's right, some of them do have their own gymnasiums where they're able to work from home. Sometimes the training ground was open, the pitches were used in 1 and 2s. So I think it was just that time scale where players were wanting to stay on top of things, and we have a Polish lad centre forward, Patrick Kamala, who put on half a stone of bulk, and he's come back a totally different physical specimen. So they've made the most of what was a pretty difficult situation. And in terms of Goretzka, you just look at his physique, the way he covers the ground as well is very, very impressive. And he's had a brilliant sort of season, considering he was bought for literally €3 million, and Bayern sort of recruited very, very well in that department. But I do think on the night, I think Neymar, Mbappe. I think Mbappe, we played PSG 3 or 4 weeks ago. Mbappe was just out of this world. I think he's going to be the next, generation one behind Ronaldo and Messi if he stays fit. He's just, a special player, and you could see the impact he had against Atalanta. And he could win the game on his own. I think Bayern Munich got a problem at right centre half. Both hanging off at half time. Sherlock came on, didn't look great. Didn't look match fit. And I just felt there was enough in the game in the semi-final for PSG to be encouraged by with the chances that Lyon had.
How do you, going back to that friendly against Paris Saint-Germain that you had a few weeks ago, how do you prepare for that dual threat of Mbappe and Neymar as a manager?
It's a really good question, Owen, because we prepared for a couple of days and we were goal down after 55 seconds. Neymar picked the ball up and put Mbappe clean through, and he did the rest. We went with the back three, and we were in the game for a long period. But Chris made a point, and he's right. Bayern Munich won't change the way they play. They believe in their sort of formation and their style. They've got great pace in wide areas and Gnabry, Perisic or Koeman. And then Thomas Muller, he's sort of found a second lease of life. He's had a brilliant season. And Lewandowski's 55 goals. It's an incredible return. So when you put all that together, you're asking me why I'll go for PSG. I just think defensively, I think PSG might be, they've got the equipment to handle the pace of Bayern Munich. And I don't think that Bayern have got the equipment, certainly on the right-hand side, to deal with Mbappe and the threat in Neymar.
Well, that's a really interesting insight, because unfortunately not many of us anyway, are going to be able to see players up close for the foreseeable future with no fans allowed. So you've got the rare ability to have actually seen Mbappe up close and personal. On TV, it's sometimes hard to appreciate if he is back to his very sharpest best over the last couple of weeks, despite his form. But by the way you're talking, Neil, it sounds like he very much is.
Well, he was very good in the game against us. Then he got a real bad injury in the cup final against Stiliyan. So that was him coming back from the ankle ligament injury. He got a real bad tackle. And, coming on in the hour against Atalanta, he totally changed the flow of the game, really. And, they won the game late on. And I think that psychologically was huge for PSG. To win the game, not only win the game, but in the manner that they won it. They kept going. Normally, PSG would fade out. There's a different sort of bite about them, different sort of mental strength about them this season. Very comfortable against Leipzig, who were a good side and proved to be a good side. And I just think they just might be a little bit fresher and really hitting top form for the final. And I just think that might give them an edge.
Chris, your Norfolk Skype and your Wi-Fi let you down just a slight bit there earlier on, but we got your prediction. You are the outlier here, going for Bayern Munich. How much are your hopes based on Robert Lewandowski alone? And as a striker yourself, can you put into words just how incredible he has been this season in terms of pure output?
Well, it's not just on Lewandowski alone, is it? But he's much more than goals, and he can score any type of goals. And on the radio last night, and people talking about Bayern Munich players, the likes of Lewandowski and Thomas Muller, saying that they're underrated. I don't think they're underrated in the world of football. I think the issue there is that Ronaldo and Messi have set the bar so high. Anybody beneath that, then people question them. But Lewandowski, over the years, the weight of goals, but more than that, what he gives the team. But what I like about this Bayern Munich team is they are a team full of egos, full of confidence, but they're full of a real work ethic, and they work so hard. And we can talk about their brilliance when they're in possession of the ball, and Stiliyan touched on it. They have trickery, they have pace, they have guile, they have intelligence. But it's off the ball, which I think will win them the game against PSG. They work hard, so hard to hunt the ball down quickly when they lose the ball, and that will be the difference in the game for me. I think PSG will have opportunities. I think that's the nature of the way Bayern play, but Bayern have so much belief under Hansi Flick, who took the job from Niko Kovac when things weren't going well there. And not only has he turned them into a winning team, it's the style of play which is demanded at Bayern Munich, which he has brought back. And I actually thought they were a little flat against Lyon, weren't at their best. And I suppose there's an argument after Barcelona that they were never going to hit those heights. But against Barcelona as well, what I liked about Bayern Munich is Barcelona had some great players, the likes of Messi and Suarez, but they wanted to rub Barcelona's noses right in it. And that's what they did. The Germans are ruthless, and that will be the difference.
You make a strong case, Chris. Stiliyan, are you sure you don't want to change your mind and follow Chris onto the Bayern Munich bandwagon?
No, I'm staying with Paris Saint-Germain. Positive.
Good stuff. So that's 3 Paris Saint-Germain predictions, 1 Bayern Munich prediction. It is a Champions League final this weekend. We cannot wait. It should be a fantastic game. Just to say a big thank you to everybody involved in putting the show together. It's been a great night. Thanks a million, folks, first of all, for being with us. Thank you to Pepsi Max and Doritos for helping to make this happen. Everyone here at Event Fuel as well, a brilliant venue where we've been coming to you live for the evening. My beautiful co-presenter, first off, David Meyler. David Meyler, exceptional stuff on the McAteer interview, especially. Thanks a million for being with us this evening. Our wonderful guests, Stiliyan Petrov, Neil Lennon, Chris Sutton, and Jason McAteer, as I've already mentioned. Lads, you've been up late. Thanks a million for staying up for us and chatting to us throughout the evening. And our wonderful audience as well for joining us online throughout the night. This has been our first remote roadshow here on OTB. Many more to come. Good luck.